Hi, welcome to the recording of the Ruminant Nutrition webinar from Monday the 12th of March 2018. This webinar was presented by Desiree Jackson and made possible through the collaboration between Leading Sheep and Southwest NRM. This is clip 2 in a series of short recordings from this webinar and covers general nutrition, rumen and microorganism health.
The order that we really need to look at things is initially, what's our pasture base? So our pasture base provides the bulk of the energy for the animals. I think sometimes we get too fixated on supplements that we are feeding animals and not considering that 99% of what those animals are consuming is coming from pasture in most cases, unless they're on an energy supplement. So we need to have a good pasture base, and once we start running out of pasture, we all know that it becomes an expensive exercise. And for those of you who've had to bring hay onto your property to feed cattle and sheep, you'd soon have an appreciation for how much they actually require each day. The pasture base is also important for maintaining a healthy rumen. So the bugs in the rumen process all that indigestible feed that monogastric animals such as horses can't digest or have very limited capacity to digest. And we need to keep that rumen healthy because it doesn't take much of a setback in roughage intake to cause a considerable drop in the number of microbes that are actually in the rumen, breaking down that feed. And they provide a source of energy that the animal can utilize, and also the animal's main source of protein. So we need to maintain a healthy rumen, provide those rumen microbes with enough energy, enough roughage, enough nitrogen, which comes in the form of protein from the pasture or the urea that we feed, and enough mineral in the diet for them to actually carry out their job. The other thing we need to think about is what's the quality of the diet and what's the quality of the pasture? What are the animal's nutrient requirements, and what are the gaps between what the animal requires and what the pasture is actually delivering to that animal? What are some of the nutritional deficiencies? And that's going to vary from property to property, and it's even going to vary from paddock to paddock. I probably do about 1,000 diet quality reports a year, and some properties send in multiple samples for a number of paddocks, and there can be considerable variation between paddocks due to soil type and also the amount of rainfall. The next thing we need to consider is what type of supplement do we need to feed? And sometimes inappropriate supplements are fed, supplement types, and there are other situations where the right supplement type is being fed, but the concentrations of the nutrients are out of balance with what the animal's getting in the diet. So that's something we need to look at to get a good return on the money and time invested into feeding those animals and being able to get a production response. And then we need to actually consider calculating the cost of the feeds on a nutrient basis rather than on a tonnage basis. We need to move away from the cost per ton of a feed and start looking at what are we actually trying to supplement those animals and work out our costings that way. The rumen it's sort of like the brains of the digestive system. It's the powerhouse of where most of the activity occurs, and we need to look after that rumen by providing enough roughage to those rumen microbes. So when we do things like muster animals, keep them off feed overnight, don't feed our weaners good quality forage supplements, that can have a very rapid negative impact on the microbial populations in the rumen, which means that production of protein energy available to that animal is going to go down pretty swiftly. It also means that when we're actually feeding supplements to animals or changing over supplements, we need to do it gradually so that the rumen microbial population can adjust, because all those different species of rumen microbes are very specific in what they'll digest in the diet. And as I mentioned, there has to be enough energy and roughage going in, enough nitrogen, minerals, and we also need to ensure that the animal's drinking enough water to allow that feed to get processed and digested quickly. And one of the issues when the season dries out, for those of you who have surface water, is the cleanliness or quality of water might decline, and intake of water declines at a time where you really want the quality to be good, because the quality of the feed is becoming quite indigestible.
Thank you for watching this short clip from the Ruminant Nutrition webinar. If you have any questions or would like some more information, please visit www.leadingsheep.com.au.